Welcome back, YouTube, to another episode here at WILDMAN Lifts. I'm your host, WILDMAN. Now, in today's episode, I kind of got a little ahead of myself. Sometimes when I go to the gym, I have a particular number that I want to hit on a certain implement, and sometimes I fail in that moment. And then when I try to do a variation lift, that's going to be a new PR for me because I don't make my first PR, and I don't make that, it can be pretty humbling. And that's what happened today. However, this little moment here got me thinking. And so sometimes people think, should you always train to failure, or is failing bad? So we're going to jump into today's workout, and I'm going to give you my philosophy on training to failure. Now on today's strength giant set, I'm going to be doing the deadlift with the wagon wheels, which gives it about a 3-inch deficit from the ground. So you're a lot more upright. It's not necessarily easier, but it's not necessarily harder either. It's just different. And I'm also going to be doing some bar facing burpees as I go up in weight, just to make sure that I'm getting my conditioning and I'm warming up that explosive movement as the weight gets heavier. And I'm also going to be doing a 300-meter run to a designated spot and back that I have personally measured. And by the time I'm done with this entire workout, I'll have done 2 miles total of cumulative running. And that's going to be the giant set for the day. Now, like I said before I started this video, people want to know, is failing bad? And there's really two kinds of failures when it comes to training. The first one is going to be that people purposely train for failure, not necessarily on a 1-rep max, but maybe with reps. So a lot of people that go to the gym feel like that when they go to the gym, in order to feel like they did something productive in the gym, they need to train until they cannot lift 1 pound because their muscles are so fatigued. This could include dumbbell pressing, bench pressing, back squatting, or using the machines until you can no longer lift anything, and your arms and legs and your core and your back just feel absolutely thrashed. Now, unfortunately, if you train like this every single time you go to the gym, you're not going to get very strong. Sure, your muscles might get bigger, like in a bodybuilding way. So if you're trying to do bodybuilding, hey, that's a good way to go, because honestly, that's going to inflate your muscles pretty good. But if you're doing it with too much weight, or you're not doing enough reps or the right rep scheme, then you're actually wasting your time, and you're actually not going to be able to gain very much muscle mass and not gain very much strength. So it's pretty much a useless time in the gym. Now, a smart way to train to failure is to do your heavy movements and have a very specific rep scheme. So even if you don't feel like fatigued when you're done doing that rep scheme with a strength set, at least you're going up in progression every time you go back to the gym. Now, when you're done doing that particular strength rep scheme, then if you want to train to failure on that specific muscle group, that's perfectly fine. But I don't recommend doing it all the time. And there's a lot of programs out there that can teach you how to train to failure, where you're going to get the results that you're looking for, whether it's bodybuilding, muscle mass, strength, or all the above. Now, the second kind of failure is what happened to me today, which is I had a particular number I wanted to hit. And once I got up to that weight, I actually ended up failing it. Now, again, if I'm going to the gym and every single time I try to go up in weight and in rep schemes, whether it's a 1-rep max or a 3-rep max, and I keep failing that lift, I'm doing my strength program wrong. The correct way to do it is to go up in a correct scheme where you know you can hit the weight for a certain amount of reps. And then when you go back to the gym the next week, then you up the weight a little bit and you lower the reps, but you know you could still hit it. And then you do all of your assistance and accessory workouts to make sure that you're filling your muscles with blood and those tendons so that they can heal and they can grow and they can get stronger. But every once in a while, you're gonna think that you're ready to hit a big weight, and then you're actually gonna not be able to hit it. And again, you can see where you failed at. You failed, like in this case, the deadlift, you can't even break it off the ground. Then you know you need to do more exercises where you need to break the weight from the ground. If you get stuck at the midpoint of the deadlift, then you know that you need to do some Romanian deadlifts. That way you could break through that plateau. Or if you get stuck on lockout, then you know you need to do some rack pulls. So that way you're able to finish the lift once it's completed. Now, a lot of people ask me, if I do these burpees and the running, doesn't that gas me out as I go up in deadlift weights? And the answer is no, because it's not enough burpees. I'm only doing 3 bar facing burpees, and the 300-meter run, because I stop at one point and I get a little bit of a pause and a reprieve before I continue with the run, because I have to go in the opposite direction. It actually warms me up very nice for the lift, and I believe keeps me nice and safe, because then I'm able to be nice and warm, and I've already moved and warmed up a lot and got all the muscles primed to lift heavier. Now on this particular workout, I wasn't moving as fast as I wanted to, and I could kind of tell. And I was really bummed because I really wanted to hit a bigger weight than what was on the menu today. And on the menu today was 475 pounds, and I was supposed to do like 3. But the problem is I've already done that. And as I loaded up with 455 pounds, I knew it had to move in a certain way and it had to move quickly. And you'll see right here that it just doesn't. Because when I'm starting to go up, I have to hitch and bring my knees forward. And that's usually not a good sign that I'm breaking it off the ground in a fast speed. So you'll see here as I get my breath and my brace, I like to roll the bar forward, and then I like to get my hands in the right position. And then when I'm ready, I roll the bar towards me as I drop my hips. I bring them up, and then I press down into the ground. And you'll see that hitch right there. So that kind of tells me that something is off, that I'm not going to be able to lift as heavy as I want to today. Well, instead of just going to 475 and doing 3, because I knew I was going to be able to do it, but I knew that it was going to be a really big grind. I decided, why don't you go for an all-time PR on the wagon wheels, which is going to be 485 pounds. I think the max I've ever pulled was 480, and it was really slow. So since I was going to pull 475 and I could add 10 more pounds to that, and I knew I was going to have to grind on the 475, why not just try to grind out the 485 pounds? And spoiler alert, it's the title of this video, I don't make it. I end up failing. And that's just simply because I wasn't moving the way that I wanted to move. And you'll see as I start to get ready, I can't even break it off the ground, which tells me, I got some work to do. So I was pretty bummed out by that. But, it's something to work for and something to work towards too. So hopefully that motivation will be able to get me going in the right direction in the future, so that I will take a break from doing heavy lifts and actually try to work on building up to that heavy weight again. Because that's kind of what I've been lacking on the deadlift. I keep wanting to get in there and I get a little antsy about making a PR, and so I end up ruining it anyways. But the workout wasn't over. Now it's time for the variation lift. Now for the variation giant set, I just wanted to test my continental clean, and that was it. Because I rarely get to test just the clean. And since it was back day, this is a pretty good back exercise to do and see how heavy I can go. And I just kept it in the same giant set format, where I was going to do 3 bar facing burpees. And since it's going to be 4 rounds, I was going to be getting up to that 40 bar facing burpees mark. So that was something that I wanted to do as well in this workout. And I continued to do the 300-meter run as well, trying to get to that 2 miles total. Now the reason why I'm doing a continental clean with this barbell and not like an Olympic clean is because I like to do movements that are going to carry over into the strongman movements that I like to do. And I frequently do the continental clean with an axle bar. So the barbell is a lot easier to use because A, it's thinner in diameter, it's made to be lifted, it has some give, it has knurling, and the axle just doesn't have any of those things. It's a lot harder to lift. But doing the barbell and just seeing how much you can overload the movement was something that I wanted to do. And I never really get a chance to do it, like I said. The only thing I wish I changed, or at least thought about, is this is a powerlifting bar. This is an Olympic weightlifting bar, so there's knurling in the center there. And even though that does kind of help with the grip when it lands on my belly, it tore up my belly, let me tell you. Like, it hurt really bad, and I could feel my skin ripping underneath my shirt. So this wasn't quite the best idea that I had. Now, even with the 135 bar all the way up until 225, once it got to my shoulders, I was having a hard time not passing out, because it's right there on your carotid artery, and I'm expending so much energy and so much breath to get it up there. So I was kind of worried about that because I wanted to go for a PR on this clean with 275 pounds, but I was really worried about passing out. But hey, because I didn't hit 485 today, I thought you're at least going to try to do it. And every time I've tried to do 275 for a clean, I've always missed it. Meaning I can't even get it to my belly. It usually just falls. I touch my belly and then it just falls to the ground. So I actually made some progress this time, because even though I was kind of tired from the deadlifts, I was able to work it up. Now that's the furthest I've ever been. And I thought, I'm going to pass out if I try to power clean that to my shoulders. So it's really important and really pertinent when you're doing the continental clean is to move very efficiently and quickly by maintaining your breathing embrace when you get up to your shoulders. You want to be very, very efficient. And I could tell right there I wasn't going to be able to do it because I was fighting passing out. So I gave it my second attempt. My plan was just to at least try to power clean it from the belly. And so I got my breathing embrace. And again, I'm not wearing any equipment, so this is impressive. It's tearing up my skin right here. And I just thought, well, you're here, you got to do it. So I went for it, and I just wasn't able to do it. And I was really hurting on my belly. It really tore up my belly. And after that, I was done being stupid and actually decided to build my body up. So for the accessory giant set, I was doing 3 rounds, and I was doing stubborn curls just to finish off my biceps to help them grow a little bit. This is a great exercise to do because it really stimulates those biceps after they're exhausted doing all that strength work. And I also did hitchhikers, which if you watch my channel long enough, you know that I love hitchhikers for overall shoulder health. And then I did Nordic hamstring curls. And by the time I was done, I felt like I got a pretty decent workout, and the accessories always save me. They always make sure that I'm building my body to be bulletproof when I'm doing something dumb like I did today. So there you have it. That's the end of the workout. And I must say that I've learned a lot from this particular workout. I really wanted to hit 485. And since I didn't hit that, hitting 275 for a continental clean would have really made up for the day. But I need to take what I can and appreciate what I can do. And the fact of the matter is, I did over 40 burpees. I did a 2-mile run and was able to at least get to 485 on the wagon wheels and at least be able to get 275 up to my belly, even though I was unable to finish that mini power clean and lock it out. But now I know what I need to work on, and I know particularly what exercises I need to do in order to get better. I hope everybody enjoyed this workout, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.